As a kid, I felt watched, but didn't understand the world around me. Nothing made sense. Everything felt like magic to me. I just couldn't understand. At home, I tried to build a computer from plastic toy boxes. One for the screen, one for the keyboard, and I couldn't understand why it wouldn't work. When I was a kid, my parents bought me a army camouflage baseball cap. Built into it was a working radio. You could tune into real stations. I pulled it apart because I was interested to understand how it could possibly work, because it just felt like magic. I ripped it open, wires, metal, a small green board inside, a silicon chip. I didn't know what it was at the time, but by pulling it apart didn't explain to me at all how it worked. It just gave me more questions. I tried to put it back together, but I couldn't remember which bit went where, and it never worked again. I just used it as a baseball cap and put all the other stuff in the bin. I have fragments saved, pieces of who I was. Everyday tasks felt hard, slow, frustrating, boring in ways I couldn't explain. Others picked up things quickly, reading, writing, understanding. I couldn't. By the time I left school, I wasn't able to do the work. I felt excluded. I tried hard, but nothing clicked. Playtime was different. That's when I came alive. Running, hide and seek, tag, combining these two games into one. Movement made sense when the rest of the world didn't. When things didn't work, I got angry. I broke things. Adults mostly corrected me. Rarely did I understand why I struggled. So I watched, copied, tried again, and remained quiet. I didn't have a map. I was learning to draw one. Time moved on. I learned by observing, by testing, by failing, by trying again and again. Some paths were slow, some turns were wrong, but I kept moving. I accept it now. It was a stage, a learning experience. I had to go through it to become the man I am today.
Yeah, that's good. When you look back, what is your earliest memory of trying to understand how something worked?
I just figured out recently in adulthood that I spent most of my time figuring out things alone. When I was a child, I grew up without any explanations.
What usually happened when you tried to take things apart to understand them?
Usually when I tried to take things apart, I would break them and get in trouble, and it would cause arguments in the household. But even when I did take things apart and I broke them, it didn't give me the reasons why these things worked. Because you can take something apart and look at it, but that still doesn't explain why it works. You can read a textbook and it can give you all this writing. This is the reason why this atom creates this physical object. But at the end of the day, it just works because it just does.
What do you understand now that you didn't understand as a child?
I understand now as an adult that there was nothing wrong with me. I just didn't have explanations to why my mind worked the way it did. And I'm doing this now and talking about this so that I can help the younger generation discover this sooner and be able to succeed in life. From your perspective, what happens when a child isn't given clear explanations about why they struggle?
Clear explanations create identity. And if a child doesn't get this, the child creates their own explanation, which most of the time is inaccurate, and they carry this into later life.
How does a child usually adapt when they have to figure everything out on their own?
The child usually overcompensates, and most times they carry this into later life. They try to do more than they are capable of doing, thinking they are not good, they are not strong, they are not intelligent enough, they are not sharp enough. But if with a little guidance, they could have just turned out positively.
What changes when a child finally understands themselves later in life?
Self-understanding replaces confusion with clarity. So the child now begins to choose his own life and pattern and way of life. And those things and areas where the child is strong now become usual direction for the child, and the child begins to succeed and do better in life generally.
I am 34 years old. Time feels tight and pressure sits in the background. I don't want to waste any more time. I have a map now and I intend to use it.